I can't give you any mythics till Tuesday, but they're all on the channel and on stream. All of my content from now through beta and alpha and live is all on YouTube. So all of my shit's there for y'all to look at. You can virtually see the point where I started playing alpha and beta, and where I started to test, where I played with talents, I was playing with stats, where I literally did the whole process of learning how to play bear and BFA on stream. So all that shit is available. Alright, so let's get back to it.
Let's look at Druid first. Druid is a solid tank. It maintains great active mitigation and can deal semi-well with incoming damage.
So great active mitigation, you know, and he said can kind of deal with incoming damage, okay?
Like magic damage through its high hit points and several cooldowns. Druid also has some self-sustain through
a lot of cooldowns, by the way. That's 2 instincts, a bark skin, you've got 2 regens, you've got Swiftmend, you've got Wild Growth, you've got Bull Rush or War Stomp if you're a Tauren, you've got Typhoon and Disorienting Roar. All things that can be used for survivability purposes. So
like magic damage through its high hit points and several cooldowns. Druid also has some self-sustain through Frenzied Regen. However, it is worse than it was in Legion.
Druid, however, has some self-sustain through Frenzied Regen. Didn't even bother to mention anything else. You know, maybe Earth Warden, how fucking fantastic that is. Ysera's Gift off of Resto Affinity, that is pretty much always my top healing done, especially in easier content. If it's not top healing done, it's because I was doing harder content. And there are other things that will be up with that on the healing done, like Earth Warden, Brambles, Ysera's again. I've got 2 of the impassive traits on my bear, which is doing a lot of work. Regen again, you've got again Swiftmend, Wild Growth, Rejuve, all things that you can use on yourself that you can literally use. Like when I use it in bear, I'm in bear, I hit Swiftmend, and I'm back in bear. I cast a Swiftmend and I'm back in bear inside a 1 global, and that shit has crit for upwards of like 87k, so which is what, 80% of my health pool. So on top of Wild Growth being like, all the healing for bear is like exponentially stronger than any healing that an actual Resto Druid can do. Wild Growth, stronger than Resto. Rejuve, stronger than Resto. Swiftmend, stronger than Resto. Regrowth, they're all so strong, and they scale with attack power, dude. So you've really got to like, the toolkit for sustain is huge if you're doing it right.
Utility-wise, it brings some useful tools such as Roar, Incapitating Roar, Typhoon, Entangle, and a Battle Res. However, these tools that Druid has to offer typically have less of an impact in Mythic Plus than what other tanks bring.
God. Alright. So, Disorienting Roar and Typhoon and or Bash, you shouldn't be taking roots. This not having a sincere impact in a Mythic Plus. So seeing the Mythic Dungeons and the Heroics, and including the Plus that we did hours and hours of on beta, how many packs have you seen me lock down for casting, either for most of the duration after we pull them, or just being able to control whatever mechanics I do? Most of the big pulls I do, which you'll see here after this, most of the big pulls I do, I'm able to do it because I understand the mechanics. I'm using Typhoon to interrupt AoE casts. I'm using Typhoon to interrupt healing mobs. I'm using Incap or Intimidating Roar to CC things. I'm comboing using an Incap Roar, waiting a moment, we'll break it, they'll begin to cast again, I'll Typhoon, they'll go back, and then I'll use a Bull Rush, dude, and that is like 8 seconds or so of them not being able to do shit. And then you've still got whatever you might need to like throw a Bull Rush, throw out a Wild Growth, back in bear, do a Bull Rush, throw out a Swiftmend, back in bear. Typhoon, same thing. Like, there's so many things that you can do if you just have your whole toolkit on your bars, on your keybinds. You just gotta use it. You just gotta read your spellbook, use talents that actually make sense for a dungeon, not like Pulverize and Guardian of a Loon or Survival. Like, they're okay. They were really good. Like, they are really good talents. Earth Warden is just way better. Just way better, dude, by a mile. Like, you've seen the healing. And the harder the content is, the more valuable Earth Warden gets, dude. Like, you'll see, be here for the Mythics on Tuesday, live on stream right here. I'll be doing them all. And I go over overall damage and overall healing at the end of every dungeon. Any heroic I do, any mythic, I go over it all. So, like, I'm showing y'all constantly. Like, if you ever want to see numbers, dude, just hang out on stream. Like, I show them all the time. So that's probably the biggest rant I'll do on this, is just about how your toolkit can't have a big impact on plus. Oh, and speaking of that, Incap Roar, Typhoon, War Stomp, and or Bull Rush combos that you can do on pretty much every pack, because they all have short cooldowns. Incap Roar is what, like 30 or 45 seconds or something. Typhoon is 30 seconds, I think. Bull Rush is like a minute, dude. Like, these are short cooldowns, which means you can use them a lot. And if your cooldowns are staying off cooldown and you're never using them, you're being a bad tank and you're not playing the class. So, moving on. Sorry.
Druid mobility is somewhat average, and damage-wise, there's definitely been concerns that...
Let's talk about that. Druid mobility is average. Stampeding Roar, it's a 2-minute cooldown, whatever, it's fine. But the point being, my argument with this is, yes, mobility is always a great thing, but you can not counter mobility, but you don't really need a lot of mobility if you're able to CC and push mobs away a lot, which we are. So, I don't really get that, but mobility hasn't been much of a problem. We talked about this the other day on stream as well. A lot of the dungeons here are close quarters. You got a lot of like LOS pulls. You've got like, dude, like Toldegor, Freehold, King's Rest, places like this, dude. Like, they're close quarters. You don't need a fuck ton of mobility to be able to do well. You need CC. You need to deal with and handle the mechanics, know what's gonna fuck you up, and deal with it in a way, dude. Like, just, you know, that's what tanks do, right? Like,
that it's lower than other tank options. The latest patch...
And wait.
Been concerns that it's lower than other tank options. The latest patch, however, did buff thrash and swipe damage, so we'll have to see where it's sitting after that.
Damage has been a concern even before the thrash and the swipe buff, dude. Like, it was nice, but you saw me in the guide, dude. I was, look, right here, dude. Let's pull up a clip right here, and I'm gonna show you a pull. This was before the buff.
You looking at me?
When I recorded this.
Welcome.
So look, we're gonna go to where I was doing,
where you're just trying
Freehold Mythic.
level that it drops at definitely won't be a bad one to use. Targets, the only thing that you are going to dump rage on is Ironfur. It's the only thing. The only excuse to use that rage on a maul is if you're really trying to burn a target down, and if that mob is near the end of its life. Because
Just
again,
look at
now,
this one.
especially at the beginning of the expansion,
all of the players I was with were
sacrifice survivability for damage.
pretty much as geared as I was. We were like 340, 350.
Really well. So for right now, you really just want to focus on learning the content and adjusting to the minor changes in your playstyles between your main and your alts, between launch and the first patch. And then once we're comfortably able to get more stats,
and druids also don't need to run away from as much because you can take so much. You have armor, you have like a lot of health, dude.
More mastery verse haste based build instead of a
and regen's super fucking strong, so
mastery crit verse based build. I say that now
so, like,
mainly because it's gonna be hard.
Even here, dude, prior to the buff, and I was still crushing it. Let's do another big pull. Let's have a look. 20k. Holding 18 to 20k without much of an issue. Yeah. And that was, as I said, pre-buff, dude. And these were the numbers that were being pumped out at that time, which is why I'm just crushing it even more now. And then I'm up here. Oh, look. Oh, wait, here. It's right here. So yeah, so we pulled this, and then I think we pull the rest in a moment too. But I mean, does it look like I'm sucking a lot of dick? Not really. The monk, of course, will pass me, I hope. I don't remember. 13k, 14k. Holding. The damage was never terrible. At the point that we see right now, like, it was at a point where even I was saying, like, yeah, it could be more. Mainly for the purposes of, like, threat. But the damage was never bad. So we don't need to even... Single target was kind of a different story, though. Let's see where I end up here on Harlan. I'm holding 6.5. I'm holding right in there, which isn't bad. Yeah, I'm holding 6.5. Hell yeah, man. 6.8. You get those 3 stacks of thrash up, dude. Hell yeah. And I'm mauling here. I'm not even using iron fur here. Like, hell yeah. Because you know why? If you don't, like, next big trash pull you do, if you are in the habit of using an iron fur or trying to at the beginning of every pull, try not doing it for a dungeon. Roll into a pack, thrash, swipe. Barkskin or a regen. To kind of ease yourself into the pull, dude. And it's like, a lot of people waste a lot of rage on iron fur that they probably don't really need to. And I finished Harlan at 7.3. When he died, I was at 7.3k. So 7.2, 7.3, single target. That was one target. You watched it. Like, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Overall, Druid is the tank that feels like it's basically there to do just that, tank. It doesn't really bring...
Bear feels like it's here to just do that, just tank. Feels like, yeah, if you're like a bot.
It's basically there to do just that, tank. It doesn't really bring anything super special to a 5-man group.
It doesn't bring anything super special to a 5-man group. I'm not going to rant about everything that I just ranted about. You can take everything I just said and just sum it up in that statement right there.
It doesn't really bring anything super special to a 5-man group. And
it doesn't really bring anything super special to a 5-man group. Thank you for telling 121,000 people that, Sco.
In the current format and playstyle of high-level Mythic Plus, it doesn't offer as much as the other options available.
Whoa.
Druid is the tank that feels like it's basically there to do just that, tank. It doesn't really bring anything super special to a 5-man group, and in the current format and playstyle of high-level Mythic Plus, it doesn't offer as much as the other options available.
It doesn't offer as much as the other options available. Wait. I'm trying to think about a tank that can throw hots on the entire party. Throw 60 to 80k heals on one member of the party every 25 seconds. Usually I end up doing it on my healer just to make sure things stay cool. I can throw out one full round of a really powerful hot. I forget what it's called. Wild Growth, maybe? And then you can rejuve and you can regrowth. I'm trying to think of another tank that can, like, literally top the party off. Like, the whole party. And I'm just having a hard time thinking about it, dude. I can't think of any other tank. Besides, like, maybe a DK that can literally CC a mob for upwards of 10 seconds. Where they literally can't do shit. But really, I'm backtracking and just trying to think about a tank that can literally heal the party up to full and save the healer and then get back in bear and keep the run going. You know why I can't think of one? Because there's not one. So, 4 out of 10 utility, 3 out of 10 self-sustain. He got the active mitigation right, but 3 out of 10 self-sustain, 4 out of 10 utility. 3 out of 10 self-sustain, and 4 out of 10 utility. So now let's take this info. Yo, Tesla, you down for heroic?